Hey yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's your coach Fode. Welcome back to the Algo Traders Club. Man, I so apologize for all these delays and false starts and whatnot, but we are here today and we are about to get this popping finally. All right. I'm coming to you live today from Medellin, Colombia. Actually, it's a little chilly because it's been raining a little bit, but it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm in South America. I love it out here, man, and it's very hard to like go back to America and stay in that, little situation there, man. When you can just be like moving around the world and discover some stuff and while trying to work and be productive, man. I think it's a beautiful thing and beautiful lifestyle to actually live these days, man. And I think it's going to be more and more probably possible because with all this AI stuff, man, I don't think people are going to be tied down anywhere to any city anymore, just trying to do things like trying to get a job or actually there won't be no jobs. Man, if you look at the pace of AI development right now with all the stuff in, with all the tools and all these LLMs and where things are going, the writing is on the wall. We're all going to be entrepreneurs. That's pretty much it, man. We're all going to be entrepreneurs. And I think, the writing, actually, the writing has been on the wall for a very long time, man. If you remember the book, The Sovereign Individual, which is a very popular book amongst Bitcoiners and crypto people in general, or Web3 people, or whatever, they actually were already talking about the future of jobs. The future of jobs, actually. It's one of the very, very important chapters in that particular book, right? And actually, what fascinated me about that thing, they saw the future as being more like Hollywood. And actually, me being from Hollywood, having a Hollywood background, it made a lot of sense. They said, okay, well, people will definitely, like the future will look more like Hollywood. With Hollywood, when there's a movie, it's a particular project. People come together to get this project done. And once it's done, everybody disbands and go and join other projects, right? And if you think about it, actually, I think the future might be just like that as well. Because I don't think there'll be like any fixed jobs because of all this automation and stuff like that. But there still will be projects out there. It's a matter of actually, are you good enough or do your skills basically fit to be useful or whatever to be part of this project, right? So the idea that, again, everybody will be freelancing, everybody will be like maybe having multiple clients or multiple whatever revenue streams, and actually it might be better. Actually, the world might change actually for the better, right? So we never know actually, right? So that said, I think if you already have the skills to code and you understand software or you understand the basics of software, or maybe you've actually tried vibe coding, I said, hey, why not basically try vibe coding on a blockchain? Why not? If you think about it, actually. Why wouldn't you want to vibe code on a blockchain? Right? If it's about automating making anything, why not basically automate making money if jobs are no longer an option? Okay? So that said, what is vibe coding on a blockchain? What does it look like? Well, let me show you. So, have you seen this video before? Maybe you might come across it, right? On Twitter, X, or whatnot, right? So this is an automated trading agent called Agent Smith that I wrote while I was in Bangkok, Thailand, last fall. Okay? And let's actually look a little bit. Let's just watch for a second and see what's happening. This is on Hyperliquid. I myself never written this type of tool before. Took Cursor at that time and Claude, Anthropic Claude from Claude, and I wrote this agent, the first basically version, in about 3 days. Would you believe that? Of course, I have some background knowledge or whatnot, right? And I've been working in tech for a very long time. I've been working in crypto for a very long time. I understand blockchains or whatnot, right? But I built this in 3 days. So what I'm saying is that this is not a tool to like automate just like quickly making money. Like get rich quick scheme. It is far from that. What this is that I want to share with you the skills or the knowledge to build an automated tool which could trade on Hyperliquid on your behalf. Or the knowledge to build multiple tools or multiple agents who will trade or which will trade on Hyperliquid on your behalf. And why am I talking about Hyperliquid? I know I said Solana is my favorite chain. But what I want to build is a community of algorithmic traders. And what I've learned in the past is that the thing that I want to avoid the most is tribalism. I don't want any maximalists. I don't want any extremists. I don't want any whatever. It's right. I love all blockchains, from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Solana to Hyperliquid to Say to Aptos. I want to try them all. I love all these blockchains. I love every single one of them, right? But today, actually, it's funny. Today, this morning, of course, sometimes I procrastinate, and I ended up just catching a quick video of Shay Gilgeous Alexander's dad on a video on a podcast of the Gills Arena podcast. I don't even like watching that shit because I don't like watching millionaires yapping about nothing, whatever, right? So, but I was fascinated because I'm like, oh, actually, who's this dude's dad from Toronto? Looks like he's maybe Jamaican or something, because shout out to my Jamaicans in Toronto. Shout out to, Caribana. Amazing festival, man. Every fucking summer. Excuse my language. But I was listening to actually, I think like Gil was asking him who was Shay's favorite basketball player growing up in Canada. And they were like bantering about like Michael Jordan is a GOAT and they say blah blah blah. But Shay, I think growing up was more like idol, more like model himself against on Allen Iverson, and I think like another guard, maybe like Kobe or something like that. And actually who he kind of like looked up to. He said yes, of course, like Michael Jordan is MJ. I mean, he's a GOAT, whatever, right? But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't like other players or whatnot. And I feel the same way about blockchains. Like Bitcoin was my first like discovery, like my first like aha moment on all that stuff, whatever, right? But the reality is that it's not everything. There's like other like technologies out there, right? So for me, if anybody is against somebody experimenting on other chains, they are like really against, like, I don't know, like research, progress, that's really what it is. If you're against like really anybody experimenting, you're like against like progress and discovery and research. People should have fun. Whatever you like, man. Whatever chain that you like, whatever, right? It should be like that. So instead of me like be like, okay, well, you know what? I want to build a community like for traders on like Solana or traders on this or traders on that. That's like, no, we're going to make it multi-chain. And actually that's why the site now, actually, for any blockchain, that's actually what it represents now. Okay? We're going to work on any chain. And to me, this is amazing because this is a new Wall Street. This is what we're talking about, like decentralizing Wall Street, man. I looked at everything. I started working on, actually yesterday I open sourced Dolphin. We'll look at it in a second. Today I just pushed out Comet, which actually is for Meteora, DLLM, dynamic liquidity marketplace or whatnot, right? But at the end of the day, I had to be like, I had to really take the bias out of the way. I said, okay, well, if I were to build, what is the best block platform today to build autonomous trading agents? And with my experience and my knowledge, I believe it's Hyperliquid. It's only Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is a L1 blockchain and an exchange together as one, which is actually kind of crazy if you think about it. I think the future of like some of these financial applications might for sure be built on Hyperliquid. The reason actually saying that actually it's a L1 and a exchange together as one is because on the L1 itself, there are some exchange primitives that are built into the protocol. There are exchange primitives that are built inside the L1 protocol itself. Like vaults, multisigs, like stuff I can't even like, we'll discover as we go. But to me, it's like we're gonna work on all blockchains. I mean, if Bitcoin had like smart contracts today, we'd be like working on Bitcoin for sure. It's the most liquid asset out there, right? We would be working on Bitcoin for sure. But the reality is that it doesn't really have like smart contracts. And I don't think it was really meant actually to have smart contracts, right? Bitcoin is there. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's the only decentralized asset. Everything else is like pretty much centralized, including Hyperliquid. But Hyperliquid has an amazing SDK and an amazing API. And we're going to play with it for sure. Right? So as you look at this, the entire time I've been speaking in this video right now, this entire thing has been automated. This is actually Agent Smith. I had the idea because I love The Matrix, the movie. It's one of my favorite movies in the world. 1999. I will never forget that. You know, I've always loved tech, man. And I think like this thing actually, my entire like life like led me to this point. It's kind of crazy actually. It's really crazy, to be honest. Right? So what it is, we're going to basically build autonomous trading agents. And we're going to learn a lot in the same process. And it's a lot to learn. I'm not going to lie to you. That's why it took me so long to basically get this whole thing together, because I'm like, you know, it's a lot. But I don't want to make it like a course because I'm not an expert at this stuff. I just love building this stuff. So I want to build a community around algorithmic traders, but specifically crypto algorithmic traders. This is the next Wall Street. And you can build it from anywhere in the world. From your mom's basement to an island in Thailand. Doesn't really matter. To some nice apartment in somewhere in Dakar. Doesn't really matter. You can do it from anywhere. The beauty about this whole thing actually is that blockchains are permissionless. You don't have to ask permission to nobody. You can just start building today, take the code and plug in there and start basically building automated tools. But you have to, and of course, have a little bit of a context, some background information, and maybe like a little bit of a guidance to put it together. And I'm here to help you on that part. But I want us to do it as a community. And I want to bring a community of like serious people. And that's why actually this platform is not free. Right? There's a cost that comes to me every month that I gotta basically do to maintain this platform. I don't want any trolls. And I want people who are serious about learning this stuff to come here and learn together as a community, share, learn, and build. All right? So now we're talking about basically building AI agents and deploy these agents on any chain, Hyperliquid EVMs, which is Ethereum virtual machine, and we can get to talk about that. It's beautiful because Hyperliquid now has this Hyper EVM, and it's very interesting. And I'm actually hyped up to actually work on it because I love Foundry, the tool itself, like for writing smart contracts. Because unfortunately, like Solana has Anchor, and Anchor is trash. Hey, sorry for saying that, man, Armani. I'm sorry, bro. But Anchor is trash, bro. That's a reality. Between version like 29 to 30, 31, 30, it's like, dude, every time there's a new Anchor version, it's just hell. I heard somewhere, like, actually, I heard, like, Tolly talk about that. Somebody said that, Tolly said that it's maybe because you are not a good developer that you don't know how to use Anchor. That's not true. It's just trash. Look at Foundry. Foundry is amazing. Foundry is amazing, man. You know what I mean? So, that said, we're going to work on Hyperliquid, and also we're going to work on some EVM stuff. Right? Because Hyperliquid, again, has a Hyperliquid EVM, and we can look at that for a second. Multi-chain, yes. Multi-chain meaning that we're going to work on all the chains. And actually, if you know about my background, I used to work at Wormhole. I was the protocol. I was one of the second DevRel after Dev, I believe. Dev, my bad, bro. Sorry, bro. I couldn't make it to Chicago on the Onion DAO and all that stuff, man. My bad, bro. But next time, I guess I'll be there. Okay, that said, okay, so the trifecta. Trifecta meaning like, we're going to basically do multi-chain stuff. We're going to basically work on Hyperliquid, Solana, everything else, but we're going to start specifically with Hyperliquid. And the reason actually, look at here, actually, like there's actually also a cost associated with working on Solana, right? If you want to work on Solana, let's look at Helios RPC provider. I think it's in Spanish. What the hell is this? Where is Helios? Helios the dev, yes. So Helios, let's look at the pricing. All right, move myself out of here. If you look at Helios here, it's like $49 a month. If you're not making money, you don't have a job, can you really afford this? If you are in Senegal somewhere, if you're in West Africa somewhere, can you really be paying these $49 just for some RPC? Of course, they got a free tier to get you started, right? But if you really want to get serious, and if you want to build, of course, like these actually tools, it will cost you a little bit of money to get started building on Solana, right? And not only actually do you have to use a Helios, like RPC provider, there's also like other providers, but you also have to have like some kind of data source, right? And for Solana, it's pretty much like a Bird Eye API, BDS, Bird Eye Data Services, Docs, Bird Eye Services. So Bird Eye is kind of like that's the platform. If you want to build anything on Solana, I think like this is really one of the best like data platforms, right? So for the longest time, the most popular one was this one right here, $200 a month, right? So already $50 basically with a RPC provider with Helios, and then you have like $200 basically for the data tool or data source basically, right? So after your platform, real-time crypto data and insights from 200 plus markets. Actually, yes, there's more markets, but for Bird Eye, I think like it's best for Solana. Okay. So now recently they actually introduced the simple plan called the starter plan for $99, which is like 3 million MOs, rate limiting at 15 RPS, and additional 1 million CUs at $33. At $100, so you already if you want to get at a certain level and you want to really take this seriously, you're already paying for Bird Eye for $100 a month, and you also have like Helios at $50 a month, $150 a month to get started. Is that really feasible in like today's market? There's a recession. There's not a recession. Can you really pay for like you know what I'm saying? $150 a month. I'm not sure about that. Maybe there's actually cheaper services to do so. Like really, maybe if you know information, maybe point it out. Or if you're a sponsor, come and sponsor the Algo Traders Club, man. You know what I'm saying? And then actually help us like really get data and RPC access if possible. Okay? And then but unfortunately, between Helios, $50, Bird Eye, $100, it's $150 a month. We really want to do that. Right now, I said no. Maybe later we'll get to it, but right now, let's actually try to do it a little bit cheaper. And I think with Hyperliquid, it's cheaper to get started. All right, so let's take a look at that. So let's close Bird Eye, then let's close Helios. Okay. So again, multi-chain, basically, or chain agnostic, which means that we want to basically work on anything that we like. We want to have fun. We want to do this to the day that we die. Maybe it might help us like feed our family later. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But maybe we can actually deploy an agent that can like really like outlive us, somehow, some way, right? Okay. So now RPC calls and all that stuff. The gas optimization. Well, we'll talk about that later. Maybe it's not important right now. But Hyperliquid, EVM chain, Solana, and maybe like some Bitcoin integration. Okay. So whatever makes sense, we can work on it, right? We can take a look at actually Bitcoin right now. We can take a look at. I think there's a project called Bob, build on Bitcoin or something, where you can actually have like Solidity smart contracts, like talking to Bitcoin or something like that. Maybe that's cool. Maybe check it out. Okay. But cybersecurity, key management, which is actually particularly key. If you're building a website for your uncle's business, you don't have to necessarily worry about so much about like security. Of course, there's like authentication, blah, 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 whatever, but it's a whole other topic. Here we are talking about basically security when it comes to like digital assets, because you are building an agent, and this actually agent is basically managing assets, digital assets that are very valuable, that actually that people would love to steal, or hack, or whatever else it is, right, from this particular agent, right? So we're going to think about like security from day one. Okay, we're going to think about security from day one, from the get-go. Always think about security first. All right. Actually, working with Hyperliquid is like a little bit nicer, but we'll see actually with that. Okay. Then we talk about like basically doing it multi-chain, all kind of chains, right? Any chains, but it's permissionless. You don't have to like fill out no paperwork, give anybody a passport number, phone number, blah, 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 in order for it to actually start working, right? You can do it right away, any chain, whatever, right? So Hyperliquid first. Cybersecurity, key management. We're going to make sure our keys are always safe and always secure before anything. We understand how basically that environment files work, and that's kind of like the hacky way to do it, but also like how to do it proper, right? Maybe how we can have like maybe TEs later, or like trusted execution environments, right? But that's another complicated topic that we'll get to, somehow, some way. But we're going to have to figure out a way to basically do that, okay? Like what they call actually MPC, well, it's actually also like multi-party computational stuff, right? So it's like multiple people who basically combine their computing resources to make these things more like obfuscated somehow, some way, right? Okay. We'll do like smart contracts again, obviously, and all that stuff, whatever, right? But we'll get there somehow, some way. Threat modeling, MEV protection, all that stuff too. MEV actually is a problem on basically on Solana because you have to bribe these validators with Jito and all that stuff. But that's another topic. It's too complicated. Okay. Now, the most important part about this whole thing is that we want to basically take the skills that we learned from here, right, and try to apply them to the AI, other AI stuff, like or maybe grow our AI knowledge and skills. If everybody says that the future is basically belongs to like those people actually who master these AI tools, okay, well, we're gonna basically build autonomous trading agents on a Hyperliquid or whatnot, right? But we're gonna use the same tools basically to help us basically get better at like using and building AI tools, as a matter of fact. And we'll basically I'll show you exactly how to do that, like step by step by step. Okay, so your edge again here, right? What do we want? We want basically to have skills, cloud skills, very important. So either we're going to use AWS, GCP, or whatever else, right? Because we're going to basically deploy our agent somewhere, and we can do it somewhere cheap, DigitalOcean or whatnot. But today, if you want to basically get your skills right, I think AWS is your best bet, right? And maybe even think about doing the certification for AWS. Why not? Okay, so that said, you want to acquire these particular like the cloud tools, and then maybe ultimately you even want to be like cloud agnostic basically. You know about AWS, Azure, and GCP, Google Cloud, and Microsoft Azure. These are like the three to basically focus on. But in the beginning, why focus on three? Let's focus on the one that has the maybe the best upside, or so one we're going to bet on the future is going to be basically AWS. I mean, Netflix is on AWS. They're not going anywhere, okay? So GCP, high availability, GCP Cloud Run is beautiful. You can actually run containers on really actually easy on basically Google Cloud. But Google Cloud is kind of, it is what it is. I prefer AWS, and I think we're gonna play with it. And I wish we see exactly also why basically Hyperliquid have their historical data on an S3 bucket on AWS, which is amazing for us, okay? And then the white hacker mindset, right? Which means that, okay, we're not necessarily going to master smart contract auditing. Actually, the LLM put this in here. This is not true. But we're not going to actually do no auditing, right? But it will be good for us to understand what basically actually smart contract security means, especially when we get to it, especially if you're going to ever deploy some kind of like custom smart contract on Hyperliquid EVM. Okay, maybe we'll have to like rethink about security, blah blah blah, whatever. Okay, but nowadays it's great automated tools. Shout out to my man Jose over at I forgot the company name again. Not Materium. I forgot. But yeah, but they have like a nice automated tool nowadays for smart contracts. You can maybe play with that, right? So this stuff is not really correct. We're not going to like do so much stuff of this stuff because this is more like Solana-based stuff, right? Like the bins and all that stuff, like for the liquidity pools and like on the liquidity pools on Solana, but we're not going to do that right now. We're just going to mainly going to focus on Hyperliquid L1 and a perpetual like what they call perps, basically, right? And I will also give you even like a spot trader. I will open source it probably in the next 24 hours or so. I'll put it out, right? And there was an original one called Cashflow, but I'm going to change the name and something else, whatever. But it's a spot trader for Hyperliquid. Okay. So EVM chains and Bitcoin, we'll do that later. We're gonna worry about that. Deploy live arbitrage. Oh man, actually LLM put this in here. If we can get to this, that'll be great. But maybe not right now. That's a lot. Okay. But EVM chains, MEV stuff, maybe, I don't know. MEV is complicated, but it'll be good to understand what the MEV algorithms actually. And MEV is like a maximal extractable value, right? Or MEV, and we can talk about what this really means. But it's very interesting to like something to learn about. Learn about maybe like a little bit about wormhole and cross-chain bridges, how do they work and all that stuff, arbitrage and everything else, right? So, what do we want at the end? We wanna be very, very good at this particular tech stack. Cybersecurity, managing our keys, the cloud, deploying to AWS, AI ML stuff, right? Building models basically for our agents, basically for trading, and then the data itself. Where do we get the data, right? And also like building data pipelines, right? Because this is going to be very, very crazy actually skills. If you combine these three right here, and then on top of it, we actually understand Web3, we are set for the future. Okay? So, again, to reiterate, I want to do this as a community. And actually, that's why I put the LLM put this in here. Join the, actually, obviously, you can tell that I actually vibe coded this whole thing, right? That's actually what's beautiful about vibe coding. And I keep talking about vibe code and actually what it really means. So we'll basically figure out what that means and actually how you can build something like this. But to me, it's like, this is just like whatever. We can just do this in 2 seconds. But the idea is like building tools which will basically make money for us in our sleep, or basically some workers that we send actually out there on chain, and to make us money on chain, right? And again, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I am not an expert at this stuff. I'm just a researcher, hacker, interested in building stuff, right? Putting my thoughts together, and when I want to share this stuff, because I believe that with what's coming with all these jobs, like lost with AI and all that stuff, right? There has to be other ways people can be like really entrepreneurs. And I'm not saying this will replace your main income. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you can still have like some kind of hustle during the day, but at night you can basically still learn how to write automated trading tools on chain because it is permissionless. You can do this from anywhere in the world. All right? You can do this from anywhere in the world. All right? So, again, it's nice, cool thing. Okay, that's where it's at, right? Okay? So this is actually the site right now. You can just check it out. The link is in the bio or whatnot, right? You will see this in all the videos or whatnot. So I would just like suggest checking it out and maybe come in and join our community, okay? So if you go to Solana.com, if you're interested in stuff, this is where you should basically go and start looking into Solana stuff and go to developers and Solana documentation. Boom, you are there. Start right here if you want to learn about Solana until we get there, if you're in a hurry. And I don't want to disappoint you, obviously, right? But yesterday, I open sourced the first one called Dolphin. So Dolphin, actually, I vibe coded for Orca. And Orca is one of the oldest liquidity platforms on Solana, man. And it's amazing. And the reason actually Orca is amazing is because you can actually write automated tools basically to become more of a liquidity provider or market maker per se. But in this particular actually position, because it's a liquidity pool, it's more like a liquidity provider. Let's say we take like Sol USDC, right? It has a TVL of like $33 million and volume of $147 million in the last 24 hours. This particular pool, can you imagine? On Orca, right? Let me move myself here. Okay, so if you look at here, and actually this might look kind of confusing, but we're going to learn all this stuff, right? All this stuff, we're going to learn this stuff, like how this stuff works and blah, 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 whatever, right? But if you look at here, I think Orca, these people are amazing at UI. Actually, listen to the founders interview on YouTube, man, and it's amazing. You learn so much from these people, how they think and how they build these tools. And I'll share the video in the group and you check it out. But listen to this interview of these founders, man, and they come from Stanford, so they are not like, you know what I'm saying, your average community college graduates. You feel me? So this thing is amazing because you become like a liquidity provider, and they build a tool to basically visualize what these ranges actually look like on this basically chart. If you go 5%, if you provide liquidity 5% of to the left of and to the right of the price itself, right? What actually does this mean? Can you actually automate like really providing liquidity for this thing? And this is where Dolphin comes in. Dolphin is an autonomous Orca liquidity agent. But because we are not working on Solana right now, I still wanted to give it to you guys, and so not to disappoint you. And if you want to know how to use this, I'll show you in the next video. How do you basically vibe code this? Even looking at this, maybe you don't know actually how this works, right? But think about this. Think about all this documentation. I made it so beautiful and so detailed so that you can take it and give it to your LLM. Right? So maybe you don't actually know how this thing works, but give it to like Cursor or whatever and ask it questions. and tell Cursor to help you run the application. So this is your first homework. I'm actually not going to show you how Dolphin works. I'm not going to show you how Comet works, but I want to challenge you and give you the ideas on how to basically run this inside Cursor. So clone this repo, boom, copy this repo, go to your, let's go, see, there you go. Go to your, whatever, your terminal, and go do a git clone, boom, right? And it brings it in. Then you go to Dolphin, then you go to Cursor, and you open Cursor, and you say, hey, Cursor, can you please help me run this agent? Actually, am I chatting or am I can ask questions. Help me run this agent. Actually, no. This is good agent wise. I say, hey, help me run the agent. Run. It's reading thing. Checking it out. You can look at the README here. Right, it's pretty good. Let me minimize my image. Cool. And we can do a Shift Command V to view the. Okay, so let's run it. Boom. But install. Just thinking about stuff. Running things. This is vibe coding. I just downloaded this thing off of like GitHub. And I say, hey, I can give it the Cursor. Hey, help me run this thing. And then from here, it tells you exactly what to do. There's a .env file. But because you are not very secure and you don't understand, if you don't understand this stuff, I don't want you to like take the risk of losing your money. So I'm not going to tell you how to run it. But I'll guide you through it, the first one. And the next one we build together step by step from beginning, from jump. Okay, all right. So now let's go back to what we were saying again. This Dolphin, it's a trader on Orca, right? If you maybe look at these liquidity pools, you can filter them by fees. Because what do you want to do? We want to build a DeFi business. What is DeFi? It's decentralized finance business. Imagine I come to Orca and I look at the liquidity pools, like here. Boom, I go to orca.so/pools. This is all available liquidity pools. And look at the volume in the last 24 hours in the TVL. $33 million. Volume last 24 hours, $147 million. But if I wanted to, let's say, let's actually do exercise. If I wanted to come today and build a DeFi business on Orca, how would I actually go about doing so? Actually, it's very simple. I come in here, there's a liquidity pools. I look at all the numbers, obviously, but I'm trying to figure out actually how do I make money? Well, how do you make money? Well, in the liquidity pool, you basically earn part of the fees that are earned in the last 24 hours or so, whatever. You earn you basically deposit money in this particular pool, and because you are providing liquidity, you get rewarded with the fees that that pool earns when actually a transaction goes through it or whatnot. When people basically swap between assets. And we can talk about this other stuff later, but it's not really relevant to what we're doing right now with Hyperliquid. Because we're dealing with an exchange, and we're dealing with the perplex and not liquidity pools. But this we will learn. All right? So now I look at here, I said, okay, well, what do I want to do? Well, I want to basically filter these things by pool. Obviously, I can filter them, blah, blah, blah. I can say, okay, minimum 24-hour volume. I would say, let's say $2 million. Minimum TVL, $1 million. Okay, because I want to basically go where the money is at. Okay, I'll do that. I said, okay, let me close it. Where is that? Sol USDC, Fartcoin Sol, CBBTC Sol, which is amazing. We got to take a look at, right? But all this stuff. But which one would I pick to basically provide liquidity for? So we go back all the way to the right again, and remind ourselves what do you want to achieve here? We want to build a DeFi business. What does it really mean? A DeFi business means that we want to basically provide a service and get rewarded for this particular service. And what is our reward? It's a portion of these fees that are earned by the liquidity pool. So what do you want to do? We want to basically filter these pools. Which one actually is making money? Okay, and let's go back to it. Which is the one that has the most fees in the last 24 hours, right? You look at it again. Sol USDC, $59,000. Fartcoin Sol, $51,000. They are paying about like 0.64% on the yield, basically on this particular pool on TVL. But of course, like this changes because it's kind of dynamic, whatever, right? This kind of changes a little bit how much should they pay. But usually we want to come in here and basically put our money where and filter these things. Again, look at it. Is our TVL at least $1 million? Yes, it's $33 million. What is the volume? We said a minimum $2 million. But to me, actually, the way that I see it is that the volume always has to be at least twice the TVL. The volume has to be at least twice the TVL, right? And I can actually, I don't have to do $1 million. Maybe actually the TVL itself could be like 250K, right? So which means that what is twice the volume? The million is 500K. Okay, so filter it like this. So what happens now? I get actually more assets, right? And some, you can see it here. Some the TVL is like, let's see, this one is like 729. But it's another like a Fartcoin pool itself, but it only earned like 7K the last like 24 hours. Do we really want to put our money here? No, obviously not, right? So we always want to go again. What is the highest like earning fees per 24 hours? Again, it's Sol USDC, Fartcoin USDC. So I go to Sol USDC, and I'll provide liquidity for Sol USDC here. I can do it on full or custom. Full is easy. I basically go here and I put two assets, half and half. Whatever the same amount in Sol and the same amount in USDC. Let's say I want to deposit maybe $1,000 in USDC plus whatever in Sol. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. Then it tells me like how much I need to deposit or whatnot, right? But I need to call it my wallet first. And then it will be the same exact amount actually, basically, which means that actually, because you see the total is like $2,000, which means that I'm depositing $1,000 in USDC and 6.8 Sol in, which equates to like $1,000 today at that price range. Okay, so again, I can close this, or I can go back here again and jump back here and go to custom. Custom now, I don't have to basically provide liquidity for the entire range of this particular pool. I can basically just pick a range that I like, and the more risk I take, the more money I make. Right? The more risk I take, the more money I make, right? So this is very important to basically figure out like what actually, these ranges actually mean at 10%. You see how it changes here? The yield itself, right? Or I can do it at 5%. You see the yield. The more risk I take, because I only make money if the price stays between these two bars, right? If this bar moves outside the range, I don't make any money. But I don't lose my money actually. I only suffer from this thing they call impermanent loss. And that we can talk about as well. Let's go to YouTube, man. And let's go to impermanent loss. And the one from Cinematics, obviously, this video is the best video to watch. Right, from Cinematics. This is amazing. Okay. And this will explain to you exactly what is impermanent loss. And what it actually means that is that you are not losing your funds, it's just only a temporary loss. Because again, if the price moves out of this range, you don't make any money. But if it comes back to the range, then you are making money again, and you did not lose your money. It's just that if the price moves too much to the left, you basically are converted 100% on the losing asset side, and if the bar moves to the right, then you are converted 100% to the asset on the right. But at least you actually took all those gains. It's just that if the price goes to the right, then you are no longer making money, even if the price appreciates. And I know it's kind of complicated, but don't worry about it. All these things take time and visualize and repetition, then you can understand what this means actually. okay? And this is actually what they call impermanent loss. But we're not going to do liquidity provisioning. But what we will learn with Hyperliquid will also help you read these charts. What are these things, these bars that are like green and red, and what is all this stuff? And why are there like 2 bars here? Again, the yellow bars. Actually, this is kind of wrong, not wrong, but the price actually is Sol. Is it Sol plus USDC? USDC plus Sol. Not Sol USDC. Right? But sometimes we want to like basically make sure that we are like doing the right ranges. That's right. Actually, USDC per Sol. We got to flip that actually. Yes. So this makes more sense now. So all these things you have to actually know, man. Sometimes it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky, man, to understand some of this stuff, right? So, but you have, it just takes practice. That's all. Oh, sorry, why did I do that? All right, so let's exit out of here. Escape. Okay. But we're not going to learn this. But what we will learn at Hyperliquid will help us basically understand this stuff, because all these graphs are the same. Right? This is just like graphs, but you got to understand which actual time frame are you looking at: the 1 minute chart, the 5 minute chart, or the 15-minute chart. Okay? Right? And what does this mean? This, when you click on it and stretch it, and this is just the price on the right, and on the y-axis, we have the time. What happened, and whatever time, and how much. And if I put my basically marker above any bar, right, you will see on the upper right here, this thing changes, because this is a basically open, high, low, close. Because if you look at every bar, there's only basically if you look at every bar here, there are only 4 points. The open price, the open price, the close price, the lowest of the day, and the highest of the day. Open, high, low, close. OHLC. This is the most important 4 data pieces you need to basically put in your mind. OHLC. Open, high, low, close. And every single one of these bars only has those 4 data points to basically be able to like draw it on this particular plane. Okay? Every single one of these bars. But what does it actually mean? So that close it off. What does it mean actually, right? What does it really mean? You know? So again, we flip it up a little bit so we can get a better range and see what's going on. All right? Look at this. Okay? And actually, this is amazing, beautiful explanation of like what the range is. Because we only make money when we liquidity provide. We're not making money when the price is between these 2 bars. Right? The price is between these 2 bars, which means that if you look at it on the other side, the price is within these 2 bars. See, this low and this high. So as long as the price is like oscillating between these 2 bars, we're making money. If the price goes above this bar, we don't make any money. If the price drops below this bar, we don't make any money. We only make money if the price is here. And the money that we make is part of the fees, again, that this particular pool earns in the 24 hours. And that's why we basically need to filter by pool, and we can tell it basically what to look for. And obviously, we can do this with code. Right? You can automate that particular process. Because I used to do this every morning. I used to wake up, look at fucking pools, and deposit money in these particular pools, and try to figure out a way to, you know what I'm saying, to make some money on these pools. Because sometimes these pools, the first 48 hours when the coin is launched, they obviously, give big rewards for these particular pools to provide liquidity for. So again, you are never losing your money. You are only suffering of like what they call temporary loss of funds. But with perps, it's way more dangerous. With perps, it's way more dangerous. And there you lose your money. You get liquidated, whatever, right? Maybe if you don't have the things in there, the stop losses or your whatever in place, then you're going to lose some money. But here, you don't actually lose money. You only suffer from this thing that they call impermanent loss. And this video, Finematics, this is one of the most important videos you can possibly watch in DeFi if you want to work with liquidity pools. Okay? But I think I talked enough about liquidity pools. But there's Orca, and of course, there's also like Meteora. .ag. right? Later, let's just go to the old one. Same thing. Meteor. This is also like built on a Solana, right? Sol USDC. How much is in here? Volume 24 hours, $48 million plus. TVL $6 million. Is the volume twice TVL? Yes. So we want to basically put our money here. Look at this one, Trump USDC. Jesus Christ. The volume the last 24 hours is $66 million with a TVL of like $353 million. Okay. Sol USDC. Got it. Agree, let's go. All right, it's paying about whatever, 0.32%. Value locked here is like about $6 million. How much fees did he make? My fees, 24-hour fees, $19,000, about $20,000. Not bad. Okay, you come in here also, deposit assets, boom, boom, boom. You can add a position. You can basically pick whatever the volatility strategy, curve, bid, ask, whatever. Like these things, we can, you can look at it later. But again, where do we have this? How do automate trading on this? We have Dolphin here, but we also have Dolphin here. But if you go to the Algo Traders Club GitHub and you go to repos, right there you will see Comet. So Comet is a autonomous trading agent for Meteora. And this is Comet. Okay? So Comet, basically I wrote this again. Like sometimes I'm just be like, I'll just be vibe coding the hell out of like these agents, man. So same situation, you're gonna have to understand how that env works, but actually I don't even want you to use this. Like you really need to watch like Patrick Collins videos or like his tweets sometimes. He's funny, the funny guy on Twitter, man. You know what I'm saying? It's very important actually. Do not really deploy your keys and that env file in production. I do it sometimes because I'm in a rush to do stuff, but you really need to be careful, especially if you have a lot of funds at work, right? Fully documented as well. Same situation. To get started, if you are impatient, go here, clone it, go to your, boom, where is it? Go to here, cd that here, and then do another git clone, boom. Not this one, sorry, comments. Let's do this. I should really know my shortcuts, but you know what it is, man. Comment, boom. You can basically get this one here, or that does exist, whatever, right? So let's see the comment, and let's open it up in cursor, and say, cursor, hey bro. Okay, it was already open because initially I was writing the documentation. Help us. Hey buddy, please help me understand this repo. Actually, I really should do an ask, not like a use the agent. But sometimes I forget to go back to the agent, sometimes it's annoying. So let's put here, ask it here. And he said, so nice. Thank you, bro. So nice. Come and be, close this. Tell me, man. It would just guide you through and let you know exactly how Comet works. But do you know how to basically turn it on? Like I do not want you to lose money, man. But I will give you enough for you to learn. This is not financial advice. This is just basically a way for you to get started, start learning this stuff, and not be afraid. If you written like any code, if you know how to vibe code a little bit, go for it. The repo is open, right? The repo is right there. Where is it? Repo is right there. Algo Traders Club Comet. It's public and open. Repositories, all three are there. Comet, Dolphin, and Baby Smith. And this is the last one I want to talk about today before we leave. What is Baby Smith? Baby Smith basically is what we're going to get started with to trade on Hyperliquid. This is a simpler version of Baby Smith is a simpler version. Baby Smith is a simpler version of Agent Smith. It's a watered down version. I made it simpler to open source it as a learning tool. Okay? And this is amazing because this already, tonight, you can start looking at it again. Go here, clone it to your repo, plug it into cursor, ask it how it works. Okay? In the meantime, you're going to go here and click on this folder. And you can see again the folder, right? Baby Smith, Agent Smith. So Baby Smith is a derivation of like Agent Smith. Look at the assets. And this actually is amazing because this is a very simple actually project we can get started with to kind of see how it works, but we're going to write our own from scratch. Again, right? We're going to write as our own as a community from scratch, and I'll basically go every step to basically help you understand how this whole thing works, right? If you look at like let me actually give you an anecdote really quick before we go forward. The reality is that I still see a lot of ads of people selling trading bots. People asking me, oh, should I buy a trading bot? It's like $1,500, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, why would you want to buy that? Use it as an opportunity to learn. Like vibe code your own trading bot or agent, right? What is a trading bot? A trading bot actually is an automated tool for automating trading steps. That's really what it is actually. It's a trading bot. It's basically very dumb to automate your trading steps. Okay? Let me actually make this bigger so you can understand what I'm talking about. Right? A bot is a tool for you to automate your trading steps. All right? Now, why would somebody sell you something that's making money that's more like a secret? Do you see like Wall Street giving you the secrets, man? Man, never. Man, Wall Street is like cutthroat. Right? So somebody is not going to like sell you like something, some like scheme, whatever, and it's making money, it's printing money. They're not going to sell it to you, man. They're going to keep it for themselves. So whatever you buy on like, whatever you buy online or bot, trading bot, blah, 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 that has an edge, that edge is gone after like a few people, if there's any edge at all. Right? So why like spend money, the kind of money to buy this thing that doesn't fucking work? You might buy a bot that has maybe 2 or 3 strategies, but I promise you they're like trash, like strategies, trash. The most important thing about a bot, a trading bot, is the strategy, because the strategy is what's going to help you make money. The strategy is the secret sauce. The strategy is what people do not want to share, because that's a secret. That's the intellectual property. Is a strategy. But what's beautiful about like these AI tools is that with all this AI stuff, you can basically try multiple strategies. You can just like experiment, research, build the stuff, back test it, blah, 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 and see what happens. Right? So if you look at this folder, again, Algo Traders Club, Baby Smith, and you go to the repo, the source, and Agent Smith, whatever, right? You can actually see here, there's this folder called strategies. This is the best place to start. You go here, if you want to look at the code, you can look at base.py. See actually what the base strategy is. And you go back and look at again market maker.py. You can learn a lot from here. Right? Look at this one. If you want to see it. Calculate market momentum. This is amazing. Look at that. Look at this. This function. You can actually read it. This is actually why I love like Python because it actually like reads like English. But this is vibe coded. Cursor wrote this. Because does it really matter? Nah. What actually matters is the result. Is it making money, yes or no? The strategy, is it making money, yes or no? So therefore, I'm going to have the LLM give me multiple strategies I can try, experiment, and research with. And I don't have to like see the code, like, all the like details of the code right here. I just know some certain things. How to calculate the position size. Yes, I see those things. How to calculate the spread thresholds, these functions, right? Validate trade. This is amazing. Make sure, should you even trade? It's amazing, man. You know, calculate optimal size. What is your size? Like your trading size? How much exactly is it? Usually me, I basically do the minimum. Like 10, 12 bucks. Try to test it out, get real data, and then go from there. Minimal size. The people want to make money though, put like big size. Yeah, let me go like $1,000. USDC. Nah, man. Wait a minute. This is like twice this function? The hell? See, when you vibe code, man. Maybe it's like a multiple arity. You'd have like a multiple arity thing. Whatever, man. Anyway, so vibe code everything, man. And especially crypto, it's amazing. That's the best thing you can do. Experiment. You're not breaking anything. If you're going to risk like $10, $10, $12, why not? This is not financial advice. This is not financial advice, man. This is just for learning purposes only. All right? So, check position limits. You can check it out basically, right? It's kind of long. It's a long file. It's like 500, 600 lines. It's kind of long. Usually, actually, it's good to like stay around like 300 lines per file. It's actually really long, actually. Maybe like stay around 300. Yeah, 300. Maybe here. Cut it here. You know what I'm saying? Cut it right there. You know, and then maybe have like a different file or something like that because it's too much, right? So, but all those we think about, okay? So this is Baby Smith, all right? So Baby Smith had that position reducer. This one actually is, I'm not sure actually why I needed this function, but relation size. Maybe it was too much. I was putting maybe too many orders or too big orders or whatever, something. Okay, so you have strategies, right? Check balance. This is cool. Little functions to kind of help you make sure that you know how your Hyperliquid wallet is. Rate limiting. This is kind of annoying, but we have to do it because actually Hyperliquid is an API. And speaking of which, I think it's time for us to basically go take a look at Hyperliquid. I know I've been talking for a while, but it's okay. So Hyperliquid, there's only one slight caveat, right? If you go to start trade, all right. Now, if you are in the US, you will see a big red bar here. It will tell you that this is not available in your jurisdiction. So you have two options. Either use a VPN or move out of the US. As I told you earlier before, I'm in Medellin, Colombia. I'm not even in the US. So you don't see the bar here. I'm not using the VPN. Actually, I don't even like VPNs, to be honest with you. But I'm like out of the US, so I'm able to like, do certain things. But the idea is that, hey man, this is not financial advice. Just be responsible, understand the rules and the laws in your jurisdiction, and make sure you abide by those. And I'm not giving you financial advice. This is just how I do stuff, and I'm only responsible for my own actions. All right. So this is not financial advice. This is not, legal advice. So please do your own due diligence and wear your big boy pants and make sure you take responsibility for your own actions. All right? Okay. So now Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is amazing, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. This thing right here, the people who built it, big ups, man. This is amazing. Again, Hyperliquid is L1 and N exchange together as one. And as we progress, we'll actually understand why that is important and why that is, I feel like that is revolutionary. Wall Street is being decentralized, man. I think like Hyperliquid is leading the fray. I kind of like know a little bit about Say on Cosmos, but we'll take a look at it at some point in time. But Hyperliquid right now is on fire, and I think like my intuitions actually were right? So I think we should start right here, okay? And Hyperliquid is amazing again too because let me close actually before I close Solana, I need to mention something. Solana right here, recently they launched this thing called MCP.Solana. I think this is amazing. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. MCP.Solana.com. Check it out. This right here is amazing. You can basically have like an MCP server and they'll tell you exactly how to basically configure it with Cursor. Right? Again, we are not doing specifically Solana right now, but this is something to definitely look at. Definitely, if you're going to vibe code, again, work on Comet to fix it, the bugs, whatever, and also like a Dolphin for Orca, for sure, check it out. All right? But again, we'll come back to this later. So let me close this Solana stuff. So now we are on Hyperliquid, okay? On Hyperliquid, again, we have Baby Smith we're going to start with, to trade with Baby Smith. And we're going to have to take a look at the Hyperliquid SDK, right? Because Hyperliquid also have their own, obviously, GitHub. You can go check it out there, right? And you can look at the Python SDK. This is one of the best SDKs that they have. Oh, they have a Rust SDK nowadays too. But maybe it's maintained by somebody else. Let's see. Who am I saying this? Some dude. But the Hyperliquid one is maintained, this one is maintained, I think, like by some actually Hyperliquid folks. or some internal thing, right? Because if I go to Hyperliquid here, and I go to the docs, right? You will see that here, Hyperliquid, we're gonna live inside these documents here. We're gonna live inside here because we're gonna understand everything here. Because this thing is amazing, man. It's amazing. Look at this thing, the historical data. I was mentioning this before. Why do we need to work on AWS? I said it before, right? I say, hey, here we're going to learn basically about our cloud tools here. Very, very important. Hyperliquid gives us access to the historical data on an S3 bucket. They tell you exactly how to basically access it from here. Right, from here. Right, snapshots, how they're updating, right, and how to get it from here. This is amazing. We ain't gotta spend a dime. Again, right, we don't have to spend like a whatever per month to access this stuff. Of course, maybe like our hosting, there's like other like associated costs with running agents on the cloud, but at least like for the historical data, we got it for free from Hyperliquid. So we're going to use that, right? They also have an amazing API. They have the Hyper EVM coming up. I was talking about earlier again. Like we're going to think about like how we're going to deploy some contracts on a Hyper EVM, and see that there's actually like a Hyper EVM developer section already here, right? Tells you exactly what actually the dual block kind of architecture, how that thing works. Actually, it's amazing. I read a little bit like how it a little bit works. They have an API that's amazing as well. Kind of annoying because the rate limiting, but once you get it figured out with your LLM, then everything is good. Okay. So I was saying this earlier actually again on the GitHub, the Python SDK is the only one I feel like that's just like really the official one from Hyperliquid, right? There's a Rust one, there's a TypeScript one, and I said it before that maybe nowadays with actually the LLMs, maybe like cursor tools like cursor stuff, like languages don't matter, but it still matter. I feel. I don't think that in the future we're going to be building agents in either Python or TypeScript. I think it's going to be Rust for sure, right? So I'm actually glad that somebody's maintaining this. You said, well, okay, there's a Rust SDK, although it is less maintained. That's not a good sign. But I think in the future, hopefully, I think like this will make sense. But right now, we're going to use a Python SDK. We're going to get better at our AI skills, our cloud skills, and our cybersecurity skills. And all of those tools actually work very well. All the systems will work very, very, very well with Python as a programming language. And then also like the LLMs, they know Python very well, so we're going to use it, right? There's also one by CCXT, and another like thing, whatever. But we're going to go by the official Hyperliquid SDK. And this one is amazing also because when you go here, the most important actually folder out of like this whole repo, you can look at the documentation, they tell you blah, 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 whatever, right? Check it out, how to get started. But the most important thing is the examples here. You take these examples and you feed them to Cursor. Yeah, baby. You already started. You are already ahead of me. Go and clone this repo, or get the examples out of here, right? Check it out. You can have here, what do you see here? There's an example of a basic agent. Come on, son. It's not a game. There's a basic agent right here. This is like your starting file. Do you actually know the story of Hyperliquid? The story of Hyperliquid actually is that I think like Jeff, one of the founders, used to have like, I think Hyperliquid initially was a bunch of Python scripts or something, if I'm not wrong. That kind of evolved into like Hyperliquid. Of course, it's a chain. It's much more complicated than that, obviously. But I'm saying like, you know, the initial like how like really this like a market making trading company became Hyperliquid. Look at the stories online on YouTube. Actually, even like I think like Kasim, just like Hasim, whatever, recently interviewed Jeff, and also like Unchained podcast. They recently interviewed him as well, or something, or with Arthur Hayes talking about Hyperliquid. Very, 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 very interesting. I think it is here. Let's go to YouTube actually. Yeah, let's look at that was from a couple of days ago. Hyperliquid Unchained or something, something podcast. Yeah, this one from like 7 days, a week ago. Very interesting. Arthur Hayes and Hanson Beringer on Hyperliquid success and dangers. Yeah, that's of course there always risk, obviously, But I think like what actually Arthur Hayes was talking about in this video was that the risk that the Coinbase just bought that one purpose exchange, and also like Binance, whatever, that maybe like Hyperliquid would not never catch up with like Coinbase and blah blah blah. I don't think so, because Coinbase is building on base L2 base L2. It's an L2, right? But I think the L2 is not the L1, man. It is not Hyperliquid. It doesn't have the primitives that Hyperliquid has. I disagree with Arthur. He's a smart dude, but I disagree actually on his thesis. Anyway, maybe we're not here to talk about that. But something to watch regardless, all right? So I've been talking for a while, but I wanted to get you guys started today. And again, my apologies for taking so long, but once you look at this, you understand that this is a lot of information to digest. There's a coding part, there's a trading part. There's a Web3 crypto part, right? So it's not trivial. But we're gonna start simple. We're gonna start as a community. And we go step by step into learning how to build these trading tools, because to me, this is the future combination of like cybersecurity, crypto, and AI, and cloud. Cybersecurity, crypto, AI, cloud. You're touching everything. And you have to have knowledge about the world also, a little bit. And finance. Because you learn about finance. You're learning so much, like you actually, these skills that you actually acquire that are like, I feel like make anybody like really ready for the future, man, because this is where the future is going. Right? And all you have to learn is like a little bit of Python, learn how to use cursor, learn how to read documentation and modern tools to help you achieve your goals. It's simple as that. And that is actually really the goal of the Algo Traders Club. Building a community of algorithmic traders on Web3 or crypto, as you call it. And we are going to get started with Hyperliquid. So I've been talking for a while today, but I felt like very inspired because we're getting very close this week, deploying stuff forever, right? I have one more spot trader on Hyperliquid to release open source this week. And then from there, we'll basically start by building our main agent. I don't know the name yet, actually. I'm trying to find a new name. I'm thinking about maybe something that has to do with actually octopus, because they are very smart animals. And it's like on liquid, Hyperliquid, octopus. Makes sense. I don't know. But I'm thinking about we're going to basically start building this engine, this thing, man. And step by step. And I want to basically, I'm not going to say like it's going to be easy, right? But I want you to feel like really with the community, you can ask any questions. Nobody feels, not to feel dumb. Again, this is actually why this is not a course. I want to make it very, very clear. It's not a course, but I'm going to share videos on a regular basis, basically, to share knowledge about what I know, because I've been doing this almost a year now, like building actual trading agents, and I've learned a lot actually. I started really, really difficult stuff building with Claude, with the Entropic, initially, right, with Claude, by hand cutting and pasting code, and then Cursor came, right? Things became like a little bit easier, man, a little bit nicer, like agents, whatever. Right? You can build stuff like really nice now, really quick now. Right? So we're going to take it like step by step. We're going to learn about Ethereum. We're going to learn about Solana. We're going to learn about Bitcoin, everything. I've been doing this for a very long time, as most of you know. And I want to share this information. Because, it's a lot. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's not lie. It's a lot. But anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Right? I love this stuff, man. I love this stuff. I really like breathe and live this stuff, man. You know what I mean? So I want to share it with you. And again, welcome to the Algo Traders Club. I hope you come and join us and be part of this community, man, and build these like amazing tools for the future. And then just be part of this movement, man, because I feel like we're going to get started like really building some really actually interesting stuff. I apologize, I haven't really shaved. I've been in the lab, kind of like just like working, you know what I'm saying? But I'll be, hopefully, as soon as we make some money, I'll go and, hit the barbershop, you know what I mean? But welcome to the Algo Traders Club. I hope this is our year, man, 2025. Let's do it big, man. This stuff is complicated, but it's really not, right? Wall Street has been dominating for a long time. Let's decentralize Wall Street, man. Let's decentralize Wall Street. 100.